Hello YouTube and welcome back to another episode of Dear Esther Landmark Edition. We are rolling right back into this from where I left off in the last one. And we jumped into a water hole, I think, or like some kind of underground cavern area. And now we're underwater. So I gotta figure out okay, we're on a highway. That's an overpass. This is like a freeway. There's a car right there. What is going on here? Oh my god, that car is destroyed. That's the door we found earlier. That car is destroyed. Look at that. Oh my god. Absolutely wrecked. And then what? Another car that's not destroyed? So maybe Esther got in a car accident and then this guy drove out because he's her family member and he saw the car and the accident? Well, what does this mean? Oh. What? Am I dead? Oh my god. Oh Jesus. Oh Lord, where's the air? What? This is the pool I jumped into. Are these the pools of truth? Showing me the truth into my own life? I don't. But this guy's leg is broken, so he's dying. Why am I so slow? What happened? This has a very end game feel. Is this end of game? Oh. Achievement unlocked to Esther. What? Where am I? What has happened? What? The moon? I'm back in another cave. What?
The moon over the Sanford Junction, headlights in your retinas. Donnelly drove a grey hatchback without a bottom. All the creatures of the tarmac rose to sing to him. All manner of symbols crudely scrawled across the cliff face of my unrest. My life reduced to an electrical diagram. All my gulls have taken flight. They will no longer roost on these outcrops. The lure of the moon over the Sanford Junction is too strong.
The Sanford Junction. That must be where she got in her accident, right? I'm not falling into that water. I am not. I am not. There could be a huge game-changing secret in that water, and you would have to force me to go in there. That is spooky. There's lights up there. Should I have gone up there? I don't know. That he mentioned the Sanford Junction so many times. That must be where the car accident happened. Wow, look at this. My life reduced to electrical signals. Is he in the hospital? Oh, this is... Oh, this is... Oh, that stresses me out. I can't. I can't. I'm not a strong swimmer. I'm not. I used to be. I used to swim a lot and I used to really enjoy it, but as I mentioned in the last episode, I was in a really bad car accident and I have permanent nerve damage in my left arm, and that makes swimming really, really hard for me. I can only swim can probably only keep it up for about 5 minutes before my arm just starts to give out. It's very strange. It's hard to explain nerve damage, and it's even harder to fix it. I've gone to... Was the moon there before? I feel like it was higher. I've gone to a bunch of doctors about it, and they all tell me the same thing, where...
Dear Esther, I find each step harder and heavier. I drag Donnelly's corpse on my back across these rocks, and all I hear are his whispers of guilt, his reminders, his burnt letters, his neatly folded clothes. He tells me I was not drunk at all.
You were in the car? Were you the driver? Oh no! You were in the car when she died? Up. But anyways, I've gone to a lot of doctors about it. I've gone to a bunch of specialists, and they all said the same thing, where nerve damage is just so hard to repair. They would essentially have to operate on the central nerve that goes down my arm, and there's a lot of risk involved. So every time it's come up, I have decided not to operate, and I think it's a good decision. Oh my. Medical tools. Bloody medical tools. And assuming a defibrillator? I don't know what that is. It's old. There's a bunch of medical tools over here. Why? I guess his leg was broken. He said it was infected. So, I mean, it makes sense for him to have these tools and be operating on himself. But the mystery. But it's so hard to explain nerve damage to people because it's unlike anything else. The totaled car. It is really unlike anything else. It's trying to explain it. When it was at its worst, it's gotten better now. I went through a lot of rehabilitation. I went through a lot of therapy. But at its worst, my left arm would move probably 3/4 of a second slower than my right arm. So, like, closing my fists, my left arm would, like, I'd close my fist in my right hand, and it would do it when I wanted it to, but my left hand would be slower. And it's still a little bit slower today. And it's hard to explain that to people because, oh, there's the paint again. Wow. Okay, that's all of them. Okay. Because it doesn't sound like that big of a deal. It's like, oh, it's not even a second. But unless you experience losing control of a body part, it's hard to explain because it's frustrating. It's painful. It's incredibly painful, and it's also incredibly frustrating to not be able to do what you used to be able to do. And I am by no means suffering. I do struggle with it. Some days are harder than other days, but I like to think I have it easy. A lot of people have it a lot worse than me, and I couldn't imagine it much worse. So if you are in a situation like that, I give you mad respect because I have fought my own battles. I've been through a ton of things, but I by no means am miserable in my life. So I'm just thankful it was not as bad as it could have been. There were many different ways that accident could have gone, and I went to a lot of different therapies for it, so it was a chapter of my life that I don't think about very often because it was years and years ago. So there's candles that way, but there's candles in here. Years ago. Like, I graduated in 15. I don't understand these. Someone's gonna have to explain these to me. I don't understand them. Oh, a picture. Somebody holding a stick. Maybe that's Esther? I don't remember what I was saying. I'm so sorry. Yell at me in the comments for not finishing what I was saying. That's my bad there. How are these candles withstanding the might of the coast winds? Coast from where I was from, where I grew up, those winds were awful. Oh. Hello. This looks almost familiar. Is this laid out? Is this what was drawn on the walls? Car parts with candles on them. So maybe this man was driving with his wife or his daughter. I don't remember who it was. And maybe he was under the influence, maybe he was not. And they got into an accident and she didn't make it.
All by the roadside, by the exit for Damascus, all ticking and cooled, all feathers and remorse, all of these signals routed like traffic through the circuit diagrams of our guts, those badly written boats torn bottomless in the swells, washing us forever ashore.
And maybe he's just carrying this guilt, and he feels like he's going insane. Light from heaven shone around him. Maybe he's just carrying this with him on his journey in life, and he's just so plagued by this guilt of what happened that he just went to this place in his mind. You know, maybe none of this is happening. I'm not on an island. There's no Donnelly. Maybe he read a book and he liked the name Donnelly, and he just carried that with him and turned this man into some kind of real figure in his brain. Because the brain is amazing. The brain can trick you into anything. I've even heard stories of women having symptoms of pregnancy because they were stressed out or thought that they could be pregnant, and the brain tricked the body into thinking that it was. The brain is incredible.
I can see my armada. I collected all the letters I'd ever meant to send to you, if I'd have ever made it to the mainland, but had instead collected at the bottom of my rucksack, and I spread them out along the lost beach. Then I took each and every one, and I folded them into boats. I folded you into the creases, and then, as the sun was setting, I set the fleet to sail. Shattered into 21 pieces, I consigned you to the Atlantic, and I sat here until I'd watched all of you sink.
Jesus. Departed this period, deteriorated, time for, it's time to depart. I can't read all of that. Some of it is so worn away. Is there one that's like laying down? These might all say the same thing. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. This is so sad. So sad. I can't process a lot of this. It's just so heart-wrenching. On a sudden, a light from heaven shone around him and he fell to the ground. Eggs. Maybe she was pregnant. Maybe. It's just a theory. Okay, never mind. Never mind. Just never mind. Ooh. The plot thickens. It does. It does indeed thicken. I thought you were a crazy old man, but you got some serious emotional baggage on you, dude. Are we going to that? To the big old tower up there? Ooh, baby. Nighttime, are you cold? I keep getting nervous that I'm going to see another person because this game makes you feel so isolated and so used to just not seeing people. I'm afraid I'm going to turn around and see someone standing there, like watching me the entire time. That would be spooky.
When Paul keeled over dead on the road to Damascus, they resuscitated him by hitting him in the chest with stones gathered by the roadside. He was lifeless for 21 minutes. Certainly long enough for the oxygen levels in his brain to have decreased and caused hallucinations and delusions of transcendence. I'm running out of painkillers, and the moon has become almost unbearably bright.
If you are lifeless for 21 minutes, you are dead. That is just straight up. There's a person over there. That's just dead. Can I get up there? I can't. It won't let me up there. Is there a path up there? I'm a little curious about this figure standing on the rocks. There are invisible walls everywhere. I can't get up there. Maybe it's a scarecrow. Eh? Maybe it's not a creepy dead body that he fashioned into a standing person. Maybe that thing isn't living, you know? Maybe it's just mad hallucination.
I've begun my voyage in a paper boat without a bottom. I will fly to the moon in it. I've been folded along a crease in time, a weakness in the sheet of life. Now you've settled on the opposite side of the paper to me. I can see your traces in the ink that soaks through the fiber, the pulped vegetation. When we become waterlogged and the cage disintegrates, we will intermingle. When this paper aeroplane leaves the cliff edge and carves parallel vapor trails in the dark, we will come together.
Was this not where the person was? Alright, that's not okay. Fuck you, game developers. And as he was proceeding on his journey, that's me. Alright, fuck that. That's not okay. Alright, nobody stand anywhere next to me. Everyone leave me alone. And was come near to Damascus. Maybe I read that backwards. And he was 3 days without
If only Donnelly had experienced this,
food,
he would have
and he did not
realized
eat or
was
drink.
His own shoreline, as am I. Just as I am becoming this island, so he became his syphilis, retreating into the burning synapses, the stones, the infection.
Oh shoot, there was a pause in the video. I'm sorry if there was a weird cut there. I didn't catch it. I was a little too preoccupied with the creepy figure on the hill that was no longer there. That took up a lot of my attention, so. Maybe. Yeah, nobody better be behind me. Everyone stay away from me. I'm on my hermit island. Nobody can come here. I'm safe. Oh. A house.
Bent back like a nail, like a hangnail, like a drowning man
gross.
clung onto the wheel, drunk and spiraled, washed onto the lost shore under a moon as fractured as a shattered wing. We cleave, we are flight and suspended, these wretched painkillers, this form inconstant. I will take flight, I will take flight.
What on earth are you talking about, my guy? And it came to pass that as made in journey... Okay, I can't read all of it. Are you gonna kill yourself? No. Can I not go up there? Okay. No! No! Came to pass that as made in journey... I don't think I'm reading right. I can't read it. Oh god, I can't read it. I can't read it. I'm so sorry. I was down there. Now I'm up here. Why? The shine from the heavens, yeah, and the light round about me, shone about me, and could not see for the
these waters for the bones of the herd,
glory.
for the traces of Donnelly, for any sign of Jakobsen's flock, for the empty bottle that would incriminate him. I have scoured this stretch of motorway 21 times, attempting to recreate his trajectory. The point when his heart stopped dead and all he saw was the moon over the Sanford Junction. He was not drunk, Esther. He was not drunk at all, and it was not his fault. It was the converging lines that doomed him. This is not a recorded natural condition. The gulls do not fly so low over the motorway and cause him to swerve. The paint scored away from his car in lines like an infection, making directly for the heart.
Oh. That were with me? So maybe he is conjuring this all up in his head to kind of come to terms with what happened, and this is how he decided to do it? Came into Wow, this is really precarious. I don't know if we should be up here, my guy. You know what? I don't really want to be up here. It's a lot of wind. Damascus. I don't know, my dude. I don't know about this. Is that a person? This seems really dangerous. My guy, maybe we shouldn't
We will leave
be up.
twin vapor trails in the air. White lines etched into these rocks. Dear Esther, I have burnt my belongings, my books, this death certificate. Mine will be written all across this island. Who was Jakobsen? Who remembers him? Donnelly has written of him, but who was Donnelly? Who remembers him? I have painted, carved, hewn, scored into this space all that I could draw from him. There will be another to these shores to remember me. I will rise from the ocean like an island without bottom, come together like a stone, become an aerial, a beacon, that they will not forget you. We have always been drawn here. One day the gulls will return and nest in our bones and our history. I will look to my left and see Esther Donnelly flying beside me. I will look to my right and see Paul Jakobsen flying beside me. They will leave white lines carved into the air to reach the mainland, where help will be sent.
Come back.
Come back.
Interesting. Okay. So I did read up about that ending because I felt pretty solid in what I thought happened, and a lot of what I thought happened is correct. So this is Dear Esther. So what I gather from the story is that the narrator, you, are dead, wandering this island. And you're reading letters, snippets of letters that are going to a woman named Esther, who is your wife. And there was a very bad car accident in which she did not make it out. A drunk driver struck the car and she died. And you, the husband, are trying to cope with this and trying to figure your way through life without her, but a piece of you is lost. And you kind of just walk through this island and look at these letters and realize how much of this man was shattered by losing his wife. And apparently you can see that figure that I saw a lot more often, but I just don't pay enough attention. And you just go through this man's tortured tale where there's a point he exclaims that he wasn't drunk. Like, you kind of get a sense of how he was going about this and how he was trying to understand it and how eventually he could not handle it and he jumped. And this is tragic. It is very, very tragic. It's almost a horror game, I want to say, because the scariest part about this game is that you are walking through this quiet, empty place with this man's thoughts in your head, just kind of walking around this area and going through every part that he has been through and reading letters that he has written to somebody who's never going to get them. And you read his pain and you read his loneliness and his suffering, and it's almost scary. I want to say it's really creepy, but it's really scary. So that is what I get of the story of this game. And I'm gonna do a review here. Story, I think this story was pretty damn good. I really do. There was a lot that I didn't understand. I will say the beginning pacing of the game was probably the worst part about this for me. It was so slow and it was so unoften. You didn't hear the narrator as often as I feel like you needed to hear him to keep you engaged at the beginning of the game. I was really not engaged in this game until this recording session today is when I started to pick up, because the narrator becomes more prominent in the story. And maybe that's like kind of a tell or a call out to how at the beginning of after he lost his wife, he was very quiet and very, very clammed up and he didn't socialize or anything. And then when he got to the end of his life, he started to get more manic and more hysterical and talking a lot more. Maybe that was kind of supposed to go hand in hand with how often the narrator talked to you, but at the beginning of the game, it was very hard to stay into the game. So aside from that lapse in enjoyment at the beginning, I gotta say, this was a really nice journey. I do believe the story was pretty dang good. It was one of heartache and one of tragedy, and it's just a good tale, really. Graphics, I don't think I need to go on a long rant about these graphics. They are amazing, outstanding, I would say. I haven't seen such a beautiful game in a long time. This game really blew everything out of the water for me. I loved the visuals in this game. Every single detail was there to add to the feel of a room that you were in, or the feel of the caves with the crystals having their own light and stuff like that. Every single little piece of light was there to add more depth into what you were looking at, and the audio was just accompanying it, and it was fantastic. And the audio of this game, we'll move on to audio. The soundtracks are gorgeous. They really are, but the most important part about the audio in this game for me was the sound of the silence. There were a lot of times where there wasn't any music. It was just the sound of your footsteps and maybe the waves or the dripping in the caves, and it was just so easy to get isolated and to get immersed and to feel really alone and confined into this game. And the depth and the immersion the devs put into this game really takes the cake. I haven't been so in a game in a long time, and by in a game I mean not like invested in or anything like that, but I felt like I was there, not behind my screen with my headphones on. They did such a good job with the sound balancing and with the lighting effects and the graphics and the environment around you that it felt like I was there, and that is amazing. This game was breathtaking to look at and to listen to. It was just breathtaking. Controls are very easy, WASD and the mouse. You don't even need to click. You just walk in this game. The walking is slow, but it is paced, self-paced game, so it's a forced pace. You have to go at the pace the devs wanted you to go, and it was fine. A little bit annoying towards the beginning of the game, but towards the end, it was fine. I was good with it in the end. Overall, this game actually blew my mind a bit. I didn't expect this much from this game because this genre of game blew up. I mean, you have titles like Gone Home, which I hope to play on the channel sometime. You have What Remains of Edith Finch, that one just came out. You have all of these big titles that came out and just blew up this kind of genre of game. And this game was made a long time ago, but it had a lot of competition, a lot of games that are threatening to blow it out of the water, threatening to make Dear Esther seem like less of what it is, and I think it did a pretty good job holding up. I don't like the idea of comparing games like that, even if they're in the same genre. I wouldn't compare this game to What Remains of Edith Finch, because they are completely different animals. This game, you're meant to be alone. In Edith Finch, you're meant to kind of absorb what happened in that game, and they're meant to be taken in different ways, and this game, I think, was projected in a very good way. It was paced in a good way. I am overall very happy with the experience. As far as a walking simulator goes, this was probably one of the best ones I've played. Not just visuals and audio, but the story was still there and it was still good. And it did keep me engaged, but the one thing that just kicks this game for me is the beginning part, where I was so uninterested in the game and I was so bored playing it. That is what really kind of makes this game take a hit. But towards the end, this game picked right up and it won back everything that it deserves from me. I did enjoy it. I really, really did. So I would say you should play this game, because there's a lot that I probably missed. There's a lot that you're not going to take in by listening to my commentary and seeing the visuals in a video. You're going to need to absorb this all in yourself and play it yourself to really get the full experience. So I would recommend playing it. I would recommend buying it full price. It seems to be what you pay for. So I would definitely check this game out, guys. It's fantastic. I do want to kind of close on some things I talked about in this Let's Play and some things that this Let's Play focused on in the story, and that would be drunk driving. I explained in this episode and the episode before how the accident I was in affected my body in my sophomore year of high school, but what I didn't really go over was how it affected my life. Drunk driving is not something you should ever do. I don't care if you've had one drink. I don't care if you've had half a drink. I cannot get into the car with somebody that has had any alcohol within like the past 3 hours. And that might sound irrational, but one day, 30 seconds, that's all it took to forever impact my life. Me being in a certain spot at a certain time where the stars aligned, and one man making a decision to get into his car while he was drunk changed my life. It absolutely did. I couldn't drive for 6 months after that. I couldn't get in a car. I needed to go to a counselor. I needed to go to a lot of different therapists because I was having nightmares. I was having problems. My moods were changing. I was lashing out. I had to be on a bunch of anti-anxiety medication, antidepressants. I was on a lot of stuff because it sounds like it's not that big of a deal, but for me, it was a huge wake-up call, because I got out of my car. I couldn't get out of my car. They had to pull me out of it through the passenger side because my door was caved in. But I looked at my car after the accident, and I saw where I was sitting when it happened. And if that door... They pulled me out of my car, and I saw where I was sitting before the accident. If that door had been a little bit less strong, I might not be sitting here today. It was probably the scariest thing I've ever gone through, and it still impacts me on a day-to-day basis. Some days I get up and my arm is fine, and I'm having a good day. Today it's a bit of an off day, and I can try and explain it right now, because I have a little bit of time. It's a little bit of an off day because my hand is numb. All I can feel is pressure. I can't feel pain. I don't feel anything stabbing or cuts or anything like that. All I feel is pressure. And up here in my shoulder, there's a constant ache, and it's pulsing through my entire arm, ending at my fingertips, and it's constant. On a bad day, it is constant pain, and on some days, I can't even lift this arm. And it's been very, very hard to get to the point that I'm at. I did need to go to therapy for a long time, and I had to give up on a lot of dreams of mine because the dreams I had required me to be healthy and be able to undergo a lot of physical training, and I can't. So, just think about it. Not accusing anybody. I'm not here to judge you. Nobody is here to judge you on this planet. But, next time, if you've had a drink, if your friends had a drink, think about it before you get in the car, because it's been a long 6 years. It's been a lot of ups and downs, a lot of frustrations, and I'm still not 100%. I'm not even 70%. There's going to forever be back pain. There will be days where I can't use my arm like I'd want to, and there will be days when it's just kind of heavy, you know? So that is my spiel. I don't support anybody who has had a drink and then gets in the car, and that's also illegal. But for me especially, I can't be around those kinds of people. And if you can, be careful. Everybody just be safe. At the end of the day, your safety matters the most. So everybody just be safe out there. And that's all I wanted to say. I don't think I've ever really talked about the accident before. But yeah, so that's it. So I will see you guys in the next video. My camera's dying, but thank you guys so much for watching. Please check out the links to Dear Esther and everything like that down below. Thank you guys. I seriously appreciate it. But have a fantastic day and night out there wherever you are, ladies and gentlemen. And please stay safe. This is our finale. Next week we will have a new video going up of a new game. So thank you guys for watching. My camera's dying. That is it. Much love to your faces, and please stay safe out there, and much love to your faces. I will see you guys in the next video.